What's going on? Usually I have the thumbnails to kind of clickbait and catch y'all's attention, and I exaggerate them a little bit. But this thumbnail was no exaggeration. I truly do now, and I know hate's a strong word, but I do hate the sport that I used to love growing up, and there's a lot of reasons for that. I do want to preface and say that my situation is a little different, and I'm not, just trashing on the sport as a whole, and I'm definitely not trashing on like specifically my Georgia Tech experience or whatever, as I've talked to multiple people, especially multiple PWOs. Preferred walk-on is what that stands for, who those don't know. And it's really just kind of the nature of the game right now, especially with NIL. Let's take a moment and appreciate snowy Georgia Tech campus, man. I do personally think that Georgia Tech has a top 5 campus in the country. It doesn't get enough credit for how they were able to put a fat campus like this, a beautiful one too, in the middle of downtown of a city. So yeah, just shout out Georgia Tech campus. But yeah, just getting into the video and talking about, why I hated football. And it really got to a point where I don't know. I wanted to quit for a minute, but I'm actually kind of glad that I stuck it through the 3 years that I did. For those who don't know, I am graduating in May, so it's not really like I'm quitting on football. I won't be having a year of college football, I won't be having a year of college academics where I'm not playing football. But yeah, I didn't really want to do these last few years, and it's just because I don't think people have really grasped, and I tried to mention it in that one video, what I would do about the NIL. I'll probably put that video up here. But yeah, I don't think people really grasp how much time, effort, and all that goes into it. My bad, y'all. I really started rambling in that video, but I wanted to keep the start just because I'm confident in that take I said about Georgia Tech, and I couldn't let y'all miss the snow. But yeah, I'll just pick up where we left off. So yes, football is very time consuming, especially being a college football, especially in a school like Georgia Tech. And I said that in the other video, but just think about, you wake up super early because we practice in the mornings. The way the Georgia Tech's football set up is everything's in the morning, so that the rest of the day, beginning about noon, is fully academic, and that's something Coach Keefe did a good job of really sticking to. He really prioritized academics before athletics and everything. But still, so you imagine you wake up 5 or 6:30. Some people earlier than that, 6, whatever. And then you go deal with football, so that's anything between meetings, lifts, of course, practice. And then we have mandatory breakfast and then dinner or lunch and stuff. So you're dealing with football for a good bit of time. Like I said, around 11:30, 12 is when you finish. The details might be different every day, but you are waking up early and it's going till about midday. And so then you finally get to midday, and then you have a 12:30 class, and then you have, maybe some people have up to 3-4 classes in the day. Sometimes that'll be your only class, but you can, let's just say on average you have 2 classes after that day. So you at this point you've woken up about 6:30 and you've gone till about 3:30 with no breaks of just class and football. So of course you got the rest of your day to do whatever you want. And I'll never say that we didn't have time. I was just big on it's how time consuming it is, and the time that you are spending, it's draining. It's the type because the time that you are spending, it's draining because when you finally get home or you finally get to your apartment or whatever, of course I have time. Like I said, I have the rest of the day, but at the same time, I've been up doing things 6:30. I just want to break and relax. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't even want to call myself lazy or procrastinating for that. It was definitely a lot. And it really just got to a point where I wanted to rest. And my problem with the whole time-consuming thing is just how limiting it is. And this is why I want to make sure I say that everybody's situation is different and everything, because I for sure could have, invested into football more. But, that's almost a little... I'll go into that little topic. My whole problem with investing in football more is just... It was very hard for me, particularly, just because number one, I knew I didn't have much NFL chances. Once I made that realization, it was really hard. And I've already told y'all about the dynamics of being a preferred walk-on versus a scholarship player in today's time. Just I'm not saying it's impossible at all. I'm not at all saying it's impossible. This is why I put especially PWOs in the title, because when you're not going to make it in football, it just makes it so much harder to actually lock in and compete and stay grinded, because it's very, very time consuming, very, very effort consuming, very, very mentally draining, mentally straining as well. Like, y'all got to think about how it was on my mentals to be at a school for 3 years and never play, never even put on pads for real. So yeah, like, I don't think y'all have like considered how much that would impact me just on my day-to-day basis. Like, walking around campus, every time somebody asks, you gonna start, you playing? Like, family too, people ask, you playing? Nah, man, probably not. And like I said in that one video, I just I got to a point where I was honest about it, because it honestly just made it so much better. But and the reason, and many of y'all are probably like, well, you probably didn't play because you didn't care. And that's a fair argument for sure, because I am huge on, like, you know, you reap what you sow. I'm a big you get in what you put out type of person. But it's real different. Oh, my bad. Real different with today's dynamic. Just because, like, players in my position are getting a lot of money these days, and everybody knows preferred walk-ons don't get a dime. You know, some schools will be lucky enough to bless them with educational benefits and things like that. Unfortunately, Georgia Tech did not participate, so I was doing the same amount of work as far as practice and things like that, and workouts, summer workouts, off-season dinners, stuff like that, as people getting, you know, 6 figures, and some in the country even 7 figures. And number one, that was kind of very disheartening, because it's like, I'm a big time on money thing. Like, it's like, you know, you putting 5 hours a day almost sometimes into something to not get no output. And what I was saying about how it's harder for PWOs and everything, it's just because, like, think of that concept, like, just be a businessman. That's why I understand. That's why I was so understanding. And, like, that's what kept me going and didn't bother me too much, because, like, it's just the business decision to favor somebody that you're paying, like, X amount, because I don't want to get into specifics, versus somebody you're not paying. You know what I'm saying? Versus somebody who's paying to go to school here. So it was just like, yes, I could have played, but I would have had to work extremely hard. I would have, and typically, like, if you know a walk-on who has been put on scholarship anywhere, really for any sport, but definitely football, y'all need y'all to go text them right now and congratulate them, because it is one of the most hard things to do. Because you got to think, these coaches have not only their current roster, but they're also worried about like the future classes, so they're recruiting and things like that. So scholarships really are limited. And yeah, to be a walk-on, you really got to you got to show extra, because you can't fit in with the crowd. That's not good enough. Like, if you're just doing what everybody else is doing, that's not going to get you noticed, because, you know, they might as well just keep you being a walk-on. So you really have to show that extra step, put in the extra hours, make those extra plays, and put that extra discipline in, just for a chance to make it to the field. And it's not, and like, I don't want y'all to feel pity, because, I mean, it is sad, but it's like, that's just the nature and the dynamics of it is, especially for someone in my case, where I could have went on scholarship somewhere to a smaller school, but it really just got to a point where playing football just didn't make sense anymore. You know, I tried to find the genuine benefit of it, and for me personally, and I truly couldn't, because it's like, it's not like I could wait for the games. You know, in high school and stuff, practices were terrible, but like, practices weren't even terrible, like, you can look forward to the games. Well, I can't look forward to the games because I wasn't dressing out. And again, I'm not blaming nobody. I'm just saying, like, it got to a point where I had to realize, is football really what I wanted to do going forward? And so that's why people ask me all the time, why aren't you using your other 2 years? Why you didn't go to the bowl game? Things like that. And I hear y'all, because it definitely would sound crazy to somebody who doesn't understand my position and everything. But, like, I'm somebody who I really have big dreams and big aspirations. And I realized time is money. And I was losing a lot of time playing football. So y'all know what that means. A lot of money was getting lost. It's just, and like, just things like that. Like, man, like being a PWO, like it just seriously didn't make sense, to be honest. Like I said, I didn't really get a dime. I must admit, in my 3 years of playing football for Georgia Tech, and y'all know how much NIL it is, I got a combined $250 between NIL, between extra checks, refund checks, all that was $250. And I'm not trying to expose nobody or anything. I'm just telling y'all the truth. I just felt like it was limiting for me, just because like this is something like YouTube is something that I wanted to do for a minute. Like I feel like I'm having good success early, just because like this is not something that I just woke up and decided to do one day. Like I have been thinking about doing this, studying the algorithm and studying all the little tactics for a minute. So YouTube is something that I really wanted to do, and then this is not it at all. Like I wanted to get into entrepreneurship. Shout out Ty Thompson, because he actually did start a company. Y'all should really check out Divine Drive. He actually did start a company while being a student athlete here at Georgia Tech, which I think is very impressive, because I don't know how. But yeah, I really wanted to, like, Georgia Tech has phenomenal off the field, opportunities. Like I could have joined CreateX, which is the career accelerator program, and it kind of just helps with entrepreneur aspects. And then I also was interested at PhD school for one time. I wanted to get my doctorate in psychology. But as I looked at my extracurriculars, number one, I didn't have many, just because, especially like the time block, like a lot of the clubs that I wanted to join were in the morning, which I had to put aside because of football. And then like things like doing independent studies, or, you know, building relationships with professors and having them like put you through a study or whatever, just to put on your CV, your resume and all of that, I didn't really have the time to do and the opportunity to do so. Like, yeah, so I really do think college football was just limiting as far as potential off the field, just because you do have to invest so much into football. And that's one thing that I did notice as well, is just like the ones who are successful, even at this level, like, but forget next level, because I could get into that forever, because you have to be an extreme athlete and extremely disciplined to get to the next level. But to have success at this level, like, you have to be really disciplined. You have to really watch film. You have to really, break down tendencies. You have to really get better on your own. Put the extra footwork drills in. Put the extra weight room drills in. Mobility, prehab. I did a lot of prehab, but these are things that you had to do a lot. Or you could just be uber talented, which I wasn't. So, yeah, that was my thing. And with that, because I wasn't playing, it really started to be like mentally draining and kind of burnt out myself, because y'all remember I've been playing football since I was 6 years old. Those who know me know that I grew up really good at football, and my prime was kind of like late middle school, early high school. So like I just already had so many expectations, and to get to a point where people were noticing that I wasn't playing, it really had a toll on me. But the problem that I have looking back at it now is like I really had nothing to be worried about. This is another thing that I have against football. It's like I had nothing to be mad at, because I really truly was succeeding, and I made a whole video on this. But I truly was succeeding so much, off the field, that I'm kind of disappointed that I was just letting my worth be so determined by my lack of success on the field. Like I said, man, I'm graduating from Georgia Tech in 3 years. Countless network opportunities. I did an internship this summer. Like I really have put myself in a good position, but just because I wasn't playing and everything, like I really felt down on myself and really wasn't confident all the time. And it had a toll on me, because like I talked about this in another video, it's just the toxicity of the current state of college football in a whole, man. Just, when I got to school, we had a whole big freshman class, and here it is, third year, and not many of those people are with me anymore. It's just that just getting to a point where you build a relationship with somebody, you become real cool with them, just till as the season starts to go, you begin to wonder, like, will they even be here next year? Will they have to leave? Will they, find a better opportunity and everything? And it just became real, like I said, I think it became real toxic, just because, I don't really want to go into it too much depth, but like I said, man, with this much money becomes this much expectations. And it really was just a toxic state of football around everywhere. And like I said, this is beyond Georgia Tech, because I got tons and tons of friends who were going through the same things at other places. But yeah, the toxicity, mental burnt out. Because like I said, I've been playing football my whole life. So like I really had a 14-year football career. That's what people don't realize. Even though I did play beyond my junior year of college, I had a 14-year football career. So honestly, I just felt like it was time to move on. And that was another thing. It was like a lot of things that I really been living with my whole life. I finally wanted to do something about it, change. The biggest one and the most obvious one was my weight.
I really got sick of being 290 pounds, honestly, especially not seeing the field. Because it was like, what am I this big for? Because being 290 pounds comes with consequences. You have to eat a ton, which is a lot more money. You have to carry that weight, which is bad for your knee. Like, I had knee problems a lot. And so, like, I really think one of the best solutions for my knee problems is just losing weight. So, like, now I'm 30 pounds out. I'm really about 265. And when I once was 295, this is the best I've ever felt. And this is just me this is just the start. I want to keep going. So, like, it was real hard to just have to try to maintain being 295 pounds when I didn't really have an incentive to. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why am I still this big? It's a confidence thing. Like, I feel like I didn't really like how I looked at things like that. Like, it was just like, why am I big? You know, what is the point? So, yeah, like I said, the weight also led to more things like my knee pain, as I mentioned, and just really a bunch of long-term damages for football that a lot of people don't really think about, man. Like, the sport is not good for your body. And I hate to say that any other way, but I also don't think that, like, that's a secret. Like, I'm aware that I think that people know. And, like, that's the thing, like, seeing my teammates get injured would just really mess me up, especially when they got injured in practice. Because it's like, man, bro, like, it was almost like I'm just kind of wait, like, I don't know. I don't want to say I was waiting for an injury to happen, because I was fortunate enough to be and blessed enough to never miss a practice in my 14-year career of football. So that is one of the biggest takeaways that I can be proud of about football. But, like, man, when you see my teammates get injured, because I don't think y'all have grasped, like, how detrimental that really can be for a college athlete to get hurt. And it's detrimental mentally, detrimental physically, and you're not playing. You're outside the game, and it's detrimental long term. Like, some of my teammates have had surgeries that will literally, like, impact the way that they live forever. And that was my whole thing. And I don't even want to get into, like, the whole brain and all that and the concussion protocols and all that, because I really think that, I don't know. I don't like the impacts it can have on the brain. But again, this is different for me. This is somebody who kind of understood that NFL wasn't really the goal. Like, the whole reason that I chose Georgia Tech over the places that I had offers from, because, like I said, I had a good bit of smaller D1 offers, but my whole top reason for coming here was this long-term thing and the academics and all that. So I really didn't want football to put any of that at risk, just because I do think my brain is my best asset. I'm confident in my brain, so I wanted to keep it protected as much as possible. That's why I love the Guardian caps. Y'all should really do y'all's research on the Guardian caps. Those things really change the dynamics of the game, and I hope we get to a point where it's kind of normalized to wear it in game. Like, I know NFL makes it optional. I want to see more people do it, because the Guardian caps are truly phenomenal. But yeah. And I kind of wrote some things down this time just so I wouldn't ramble and go off topic as much as I did in the last video. But another thing was just, like, the rigid schedule all the time. And I know a lot of people like that. And it definitely is good for a lot of people. I cannot cap. But me, I've always been self-sufficient. Like, I've never really just been a lazy person. I don't mean to toot my own horn or anything, but, like, when I'm alone or when I'm not doing anything, like, I'm going to get something done typically. That's where this YouTube thing come down. And I hope y'all know this is just a start, especially since I am getting good momentum. Like, I appreciate y'all more than y'all know for that, because it's been cold confidence boosting. It just allowed me to plan some big things. So I got some big things coming. Please subscribe to stay tuned. Guess in the comments what you think is next, because it is a big thing coming rather soon, I believe. But yeah, the rigid schedule was really just messing me up, because it was preventing stuff like this, and like I said, preventing my entrepreneur grind and just other endeavors that I have, because I do have a lot more coming up. And just, I don't know, it just the lack of freedom, man. Just the same repetitive schedule every day without having much opportunity, much time slots to kind of implement my own things. It really did get to me. But I think the thing that I hated the most, and I probably should have clickbaited this and had y'all wait for the thing that I hated the most, but I really did I hated being just an athlete, man. Like, I hated how everybody asked me how I'm doing or whatever. It was not really how I'm doing. It's always like, how's football? Like, that was everybody's first question. It's just, how's football? And I don't know. I just feel like we get limited to being athletes too much. Like, that was one of the biggest things that I found out while playing football, is how truly smart, capable, and, like, talented we are off the field. And it just never gets noticed, because people don't really care. Everybody just wants to ask about us from a football aspect. And like I was to the point I mentioned earlier, it was like, that's when I realized that, like, my self-value was so much more than it took somebody, like, really telling me. And I'm so glad they did, because, like You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets that, like, when you really just put all your success, like, you determine your own success based off of your sports success. And this goes way beyond football. This is just being a college athlete in general. It's just like, if you're not doing successful in the field, like, you think that you're not being a successful person, and that's just not at all the case. I don't think, not at all the case. I had a lot going for myself, and just I don't know. I just hated being referred to as just an athlete. You know, I felt like it was rather insulting because I felt like it was a disrespect to my intelligence, to be honest. So that's kind of how I felt about that. And I think the biggest thing is just I'm ready to move on. Like I said, 14 years, wasn't really getting much out of it. You know, I wasn't getting out what I put in. So I really just think it was the biggest. I think it was just time for me to move on. And again, please don't hold this against the sport in general. Definitely don't hold it against Georgia Tech, because I'm different. Like, you know, I could have read some signals telling me that I wasn't really as passionate about football as others in high school. You know, it wasn't like, looking back at it, it was kind of clear to see that, like, I didn't really have the passion that it took to become good at this game. And I think that's completely fine, because I do have the passion to take this YouTube thing serious and other endeavors. So that's really the thing with that. I appreciate if y'all made it this far. You have no idea how much I appreciate y'all. Y'all, please go ahead, throw a like if you like this video, share it with somebody else. You know, really just give somebody a fresh perspective just on the other sides of football and everything. But yeah, like I said, thank you for watching. As always, y'all be good, be blessed. Peace.